What you focus on.
Hey guys, how are you? It is your girl, Lady K, and welcome back to the Lady K Chat podcast. I am your favorite host, Lady K, and if you are tuning in for the very first time, I am the one that give the truth of love. I don't hold my tongue back, and I just gotta let you know directly because I'm just a transparent person. That's just me, and I welcome you, and I'm grateful that you are here today. Normally I'm set up at home and I'm doing my recordings, but right now I'm traveling, so you see the background's a little bit different. So, I'm just trying to make everything sure that everything is in place. You guys see me well, and I'm just going to continue and roll with today's show. So today, the title is "My Child Made Me Late to Work." And I am speaking, of course, directly to the parents that have a problem with time management, because doesn't it sound crazy when you heard that title? I said to you, "My child made me late to work." That sounds crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some extreme cases that people are involved in, that the troubles that they have with their kids, with behavior issues and mental health issues, but that's a totally different story. I ain't talking about that today. I'm talking about the kids who know better. They know better, but they be testing your gangster. Listen, let me tell you something about parenting. These kids will test your gangster. Oh my God, guys. Y'all see my cat? He just had to make his appearance, but I'm gonna let King shine for the moment. But anyways, um, these kids will test your gangster. And even though they will, it is up to us as the parents to put things in proper place, as close as we know. But it's not always easy, and we definitely need the support. Doing it by yourself, you can feel very overwhelmed. But I always tell people from the beginning of time, one thing about me, when people ask me what am I appreciative of, I'm appreciative of that I do have an amazing support system. So it's not like I have to be the mommy 24/7. I can, have 4 days out the week to myself. I can have a little bit more than that, depending on what I need. Because also at this time too, these kids are in school, right? I know parents will have me think kids are back in school, right? For the people who know that the kids that have school age kids, they're back in school. You're probably working. Even if you're working from home, you're still working. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if you're running your own business. You are still working. And, it's great to have that time with, apart from your kids. But when they do come back home, you can be available for them, and that's the space that we want to be in. So today, I just want to share a little bit about my story, about what happened to me with me and my youngest, and how I had to step back and I had to look at my time management. And hopefully, this can give you some encouragement and just some enlightenment that you can make some arrangement yourself in your personal life. So one day, I never forget, and I have a schedule, guys. I have to tell you this. Scheduling is very important dealing with kids. So I have a schedule, and one morning I was behind my schedule. Life happens. But in this particular case, I was tired. I didn't want to get up my normal time. So I actually laid in the bed for an extra 15, 20 minutes, right? When I got up, I got myself prepared. And then I got little man up, right? So little man is up. He's doing what he's doing, and he's getting himself ready. He's getting himself dressed. And here's the beautiful thing, parents. You have to know your children, right? My son require a little bit extra time in the morning because he moves a little bit slow. He eats a little bit slower, and it's okay because that's how everyone is different, right? So I'm knowing this, and and I'm telling him, hey, okay, you did this. Now it's time to go to your next step. And he hears me, but he ain't listening. So I'm like, hey, do what you have to do, buddy, because, you got to make sure that you eat your breakfast, you brush your teeth, you do all of this stuff so we can, get out the house at a certain time. And we leave the same time. As soon as he gets on the bus, we're all out together. You know what I'm saying? So that's the beautiful thing about my schedule. I work when he works, and then when he's home, I can give my undivided attention to him because, he's a child and he requires that. We have to do that. I want to touch base on something, but I'm going to wait a little bit later to hit that point that a lot of parents need to hear. So back to my story. So he's getting dressed, he's dragging his feet, he's taking a little bit longer, right? He's almost done, right? I notice I'm by the window by my room and I can see the bus. I do not hurry up and tell him to scream and say, hey, your bus is here. I don't do that. because I see that he's almost done. And honestly, I'm about to leave out the door too. And his school is on the way to my job, right? So I said, okay, because I'm going to my office. So I said, it's okay. So he comes downstairs and I said, oh, you don't have to go out the front door. He's downstairs already. I'm downstairs. I said, you do not have to go out the front door. And he's like, why? I'm like, oh, because we're going to go through the garage. And he's like, why are we going through the garage? I said, because I'm going to drop you off to school. Mom, why are you dropping me off? I said, because your bus came while you was doing X, Y, and Z. I said, I did tell you to hurry up, but you were taking your time. And then in that moment, he threw a tantrum and he got upset. And I had to change my tone because he was ready to storm off. And I had to change my tone like, hey, like, I'm not playing with you. Come back downstairs and let's go. And then we get in the car. We make sure, in the car he's quiet because he's upset. He's pretty upset. He likes to ride the bus. But then I don't say nothing to him in the car because sometimes we be moms, we be yapping our heads off, and sometimes it's not needed. We have to know when to shh and when to go off. And he was already frustrated at that time because I really saw, like I said, he was ready to throw his temper tantrum, but I caught it. He couldn't do it at that time because we have to go. We don't have time for that. So this is why I allowed him his alone time in the car ride just to be at peace. And I was listening to my music, because that brings me peace. And, the car ride was pretty much 6 to 7 minutes, wasn't that long. So when he gets out, I'm like, have a great day. He's like, I said, have a great day. And he's like, yeah, uh-huh. I was like, I love you. And he didn't say nothing. Now listen, I know sometimes moms, we be in our feelings, but listen, allow these babies to breathe. You know what I'm saying? They're humans too. You got to remember, they are little humans. They are little us. So I let him be. I didn't stress the fact, but on my way to work, because I was almost late, but I wasn't really late. I was like, I like to get there a little bit early. I'm like usually there 10, 15 minutes before the actually open time so I can get everything situated. And I actually got there right on time. And during my drive, I was just having an epiphany moment. I said to myself, I said, see, you was tired. And I understand you was tired, Kalima. I said, but you allowed yourself to lay in the bed an extra 10, 15 minutes, and then that threw off his schedule. And I understand the body may needs it, but at that particular time, that wasn't the case because now everything is rushy, and your child needs adequate time in the morning. Don't do that to him. So this is me speaking to myself and knowing that I can allow myself to do something like that on a weekend or a day where I know that we don't have to get up early, but you can't interrupt the schedule. And I think a lot of us parents sometimes we might interrupt the schedule. Now I understand there are days where things are out of your control and you have no fact over it. I'm not speaking about those days. I'm talking about things that you can't control because we do have to focus on the things that we can't control because that's where we come in, we step in, and we can do what we do. Don't throw your kids' time off, okay? Because that's gonna throw the whole day off. But I can say one beautiful thing about this. When I did come back home and he got off the bus and I was here and I like that too, right? And I spoke to him and I said, listen, I said in the morning time, I said, remember, I let him come in. I didn't go right away. I came in, gave him his hugs. He had his little downtime because I let him to have his little downtime. I do not believe in when a child first comes home from school, they're right at their homework. No, they just been in school all day around all those people, everything going on. Give those baby a break. This is me. So if this resonates with you and this is something that you want to incorporate into your parenting style or to when they come home, how your schedule is, then I advise that I'm all for it. So I let him have a little alone time, right? And then we start to do a little bit of homework, right? And after the homework is done, I talk to him and I say, listen, you gotta listen to your mom in the morning, all right? I said, you like riding the bus, right? He said, yes, I do. I said, all right then. So we want to be on time. If we want to be on time, you gotta listen to mom. To be honest, if you really want to be technical, he was like, if he would have had an extra 5 minutes, he would have made the bus. But whose fault was that? Exactly. minds. So I'm telling him but it still goes both ways. Like, even though it was upon me with the timing, he didn't want to listen, but at the same time too, I know my child, because sometimes he likes to spend a little bit more time on doing stuff that he should not be doing because he's distracted. These little elementary students, they be so distracted because they got so much on the brain. They just be so excited. But this is where we have to come in with the discipline. This is where we have to have that structure because they're looking upon us. So I'm just saying to you, I want to pause real quick. If you're looking at your morning routines and your afternoon routines and you see it's out of structure, it doesn't have it, then I'm going to advise you, this is something that you have to put into place. I actually put a time into place of what we're doing, certain things, and I also incorporated the things that's important in my house. So what we need to do first was on the list, and just take it from there. So I want to encourage you, mom, and I'm pretty sure some dads too, because I know some dads be at home with the kids, and some wife are working, some wife are running their business. But you already know this is just something that you can just take into practice, put into play, and this can help you just keep your household in a little bit of being consistent. Now, I wanted to piggyback a little bit because I wanted to mention something to you. I said earlier, but I was going to save it for you guys. And one of the biggest things that I believe as parents, I think sometimes we're a little bit too hard on ourselves. So even though I was telling you that we incorporate time for the kids, make sure you incorporate that time for yourself. So when my son is having that little downtime, I'm having that little downtime too. And he likes to spend his time on his phone, because he only gets a certain amount of time of screen time a day on his phone. So I'm very particular about that. So I let him do that because, we don't know what he carried while he was in school, everything he went through. So he likes to take that out and play that on his phone. So he has 30 minutes on his phone. And even while he's doing that, he not trying to have a conversation right now. He like a little man. You know how guys come home and they're like, "Hey, baby, just give me some time." That's the baby, and I allow him that, and I give him that, and I do the same thing for myself. So we're both having because we're both coming home around the same time. So I allowed that time for ourselves just to relax and regroup, and just have our time to ourselves. And after the fact goes on, we have the rest of the day planned out. Like, of course, there's meal time, there's TV time, there is time where we're doing our reading, there's time where we're doing our homework, depending on the day. And then, of course, once he's in bed, then mommy, I can go back to having a little bit downtime myself. So my question to you is, as mothers and stuff like that, when is your best time to work? Do you like to work before your kids get up in the morning, or do you like to work afterwards? For me personally, sometimes I might do a combination of both, and I will implement that structure into my schedules on certain days. So, I just want to ask you as the mom, are you doing the same thing for yourself? And are you staying consistent with your child? Because we already know it doesn't matter if you are seasoned in this game, or it doesn't matter if you're a new mom. Definitely the system works, in everybody's house because everybody have their own flow. We kind of have to, as parents, we kind of have to adapt to our children at times. They can't always adapt to us because we come from a different generation, right? And I'm gonna say this because this is on my heart too. A lot of parents misconstrue saying, "Hey, I work hard to put food on the table, and and I'm doing this for you, and you got to be appreciative." Newsflash: your kids do not care that you work 40 hours a week. The kids do not care that you had to hustle and bustle to do for them. And to be honest, because that's our job as a parent. Your kids want to know, and what your kids need is, what type of quality time are you spending with them? As you can see, when I talked a little bit about my schedule, I didn't emphasize this, but there is a time that I have with my son where it's just him and we're just communicating. It's the same thing with the other one. We have our time. But when you're having that time, what are you talking about in that time and what are you doing in that time? Because, of course we do family night in our time. Of course we do game nights and things like that. Those are the times that your kids is going to remember. I remember that from a little kid. I remember the things that my mom have done with me. My grandmother have done with me. My dad have done with me. I remember the fact that, oh, they was away from home. Yeah, they was away from home, and I'm mad because I want to spend time with my mom, my dad, my grandmother, and they not here. But grandma was home. Let me say that. Grandma was home, and that's one thing that I enjoyed. And I always say this to people growing up in a multi-generational household, that grandma was there. She was there when mommy had to work. And I appreciate that. Do you have something like that in your community? Is your community where you might have grandma come in and step in and help in the household while you and dad are at work? What does that look like for your family? Would you like to change that? So you can have that. Because listen, I'm going to be honest. We live in a world today that everything has gone up, right? Inflation is at its highest, right? We have to work. We have to. It doesn't matter if you own a business or if you have a 9 to 5. We have to factor in the stuff that we need so we can take care of our family. So I understand sometimes it might require us to be outside of the home, or if you do have someone in the home, you still have up your time and when you're going to be there. And then of course, I'm not talking about this, but I understand the days that happen, things are out of your control, things are out of your hand. Of course, those happen, but for the main things, the main part that you can control and that is in your hand, how are you juggling it? How are you handling it? How is your time management? These are the things that I just want to provoke for you today, just to get your juices flowing, just to put things into perspective to you, just in case even if you were in routine, you got back out and you notice sometimes, oh, this happens too. Your kids' behavior, things change. You know what? When this is what provokes us to say, you know what? Something has to change. Something has to give because you see things in your household that you're not happy about. You want to see things change, and in order for it to change, it's going to require for you to to bring some structure and to reconstruct some things. How should it flow? So that's my question to you. How should it flow in your house? What does it look like for you? Do you and your husband got to sit down and talk about how y'all need to change our schedule so y'all can make sure one is there for the kids? Because that's important. Kids is going to remember that. A lot of parents don't realize, and they don't reflect upon this. Sometimes when your kids get older and they get to a certain stage and age in life, they might have some type of resentment towards you, and that resentment might come from what they had to go through in their early childhoods, and they might feel like you wasn't there and stuff like that. Sometimes sometimes your kids don't. But I'm saying this to you. Is there a way that you can reconstruct your schedule so you can be there? I understand everybody is not time management savvy, but this is why a schedule is needed. And this is just a scenario, an example that maybe might be help. You might say, hey, I might need to get up at 5 a.m. From 5 to 15 p.m. I pray. From 5:15 to 5:30 I do some work stuff. From 6 to 7 o'clock I do this, and then at 7 o'clock I'm ready and attentive to give the kids my time because now it's time for them to get them up, get them breakfast, and out the door. If you can do that, then awesome. And then here's something else. And again, I'm just giving you scenarios. And they come home. Like I told you, I give my son 30 minutes of downtime. After that 30 minutes, then we do homework. Then you can say maybe the next 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes that's downstairs cooking a 30-minute meal, and maybe your child can join with you because also that's spending time too. Let me tell you something. One of the greatest times that I remember when my grandma was in the house with me, coming home and the house smelling like chicken and collard greens and yams and mashed potato or whatever, spaghetti, whatever. It was just the aroma of food. That is one thing that I remember dearly about my childhood, the aroma of the food. What type of imprint do you want to leave to your child? Do you want your child to talk about when they're 30, 40 years old? Mom, I remember when I come home from school, how's she doing like this? Oh, I remember the times where I used to cook with you. I enjoyed. What impression do you want to leave? So that's my question to you. What does that schedule look like? So I'm gonna go back to the schedule real quick because I know I got so caught up in juiced up when I was talking about my grandma cooking. So of course, like I said, if you have a 30-minute meal, do that with your child. After that downtime, then that might be eating time. After the eating time, you might have 30 minutes where y'all might be watching the news together, or y'all might spend 30 minutes reading together, something constructive. You know what I'm saying? And then it's gonna role play into, all right, now you might have 30 minutes of TV time, your own personal TV time, and then now it's time to get ready for bed. And then also too, when you're breaking down for bed, when they're breaking down for bed, what does that look like? Because even though, right, I have two, oh gosh, no more, I don't know how I did this. I got two different age gaps, right? I have a 21-year-old and I have an 8-year-old. Of course, an 8-year-old looks different. The 21-year-old, he ain't paying me no attention, right? But for you, you're a different age gap, even though your children are grown. Let me tell you this, if you have a teenager child and before they go to bed and you tell them, hey, good night and I love you, that sets the tone. That's everything. Your kids need that. They want to hear that. Give them hugs. How often do you hug them? So I hope this resonate with you. And as I'm talking, if I'm hitting some areas that you love, I want you to please drop that in the comment. Please share with me how this is helpful for you. Please share with me what are some things that you do. Share your tasks because not only do I need to hear this, I'm pretty sure that other people that's watching this, they want to see your responses and they want to see, what are you doing and maybe how can they benefit their household. So guys, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm wrapping up. I'm done. I'm done. I am done. I'm so done. But again, it was a pleasure to have you on the show with me today. I thank you for tuning in. Again, I want you to please drop these comments. I definitely want you to like. And if you have not subscribed yet, definitely hit that subscribe button so you can make sure you receive the notifications every time we air or we're about to air or we have a special going on. And here's another thing too. I want you to share this with your brother or your sister because they're not let me reverse that. They don't might need to hear this. They need to hear this. They need to hear this because there's something in their life they need to improvise too. They might have some time management issue and they're like, you know what? I did do that one day, and I gotta get it. I gotta get on my game. Listen, we are human beings, okay, and we drop the ball. And I know a lot of people say, you dropped the ball. Listen, you're human. I don't care what position that you're in. I don't care what position that you play. You are human first. You are a parent second. Did you hear me? Yes, you are a human first, and you are a parent second. So, again, I hope this resonate with you. Thank you for listening. Look out for me next Tuesday at 6 p.m. here at the Lady K Chat Podcast, and I will see you guys next time. See you guys.
Lady K.